Superintendent, Mr. Woodard, High School Principal, Mr. Crowder, Vice Principal, Mr. Sullivan, Guidance Counselor Scott Kernan, board members, I'd really like to say a special hello to Mr. Ballas. His son Ronnie was a dear friend of mine, and I miss him dearly. And I will tell you this, if Newton Falls ever had Hall of Fame, the two running backs would be Ronnie and this gentleman right here. As long as we keep a helmet on him and he doesn't talk, we'll be okay. And I'm going to follow this. Faculty, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, and anybody else that may have snuck in, and especially the class of 2013. I am truly honored that you've asked me to be the guest speaker at a special event for you guys today. My family goes back to Newton Falls for over 100 years. Matter of fact, my two sisters, Joanne and Jolene, still live in Newton Falls, and I have nieces and nephew that go to Newton Falls, Zach, Mackenzie, and Jamie. When Sandy Hall called me, I gotta be honest with you, she probably heard my yes from Canfield to Newton Falls. I mean, for all the senior citizens out there, this isn't something I would have put on my bucket list, trust me. Now, I gotta be very honest with you, this reminds me, as nervous as I am, my first start in Yankee Stadium in the big leagues. I thought I had it under control. I did, till I turned around after the national anthem and they said, now making his first major league appearance. Then the knees started shaking, and I will tell you, I only hope that you guys are a lot nicer than the fans in New York, because I never knew my mother had so many names. I asked myself, what great words of wisdom can I pass on to the class of 2013? Because I know, listen to Calvin, I got scared. So basically, I did what every 18-year-old out here that you guys do. I went to YouTube. But I got to ask you guys a question, because you know, when I was sitting there, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have pagers, we didn't have any of this stuff. Can somebody explain to me Facebook? You tell people where you're doing, where you're going, what's going on. I lived in Newton Falls. They already know all that stuff. I did spend hours and hours of research, listening to Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey and all the presidents, researching their commencement speeches, and I'll tell you the great thing that I learned. Calvin, I'm going to pass this on to you too, okay? Keep it short. When I was asked to do this, I called my best friend, Rich Reeves, and I said, Rich, I'm going to be the speaker at the commencement. Heck. It's been 42 years since I sat there. I said, I can't believe it. And he said, Jack, you played in the big leagues, kid. I'm one of 14,000 people, and believe me, it's been an honor. I mean, it was a lot of work, and I'm going to pass on a lot of the secrets of what happened to me, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. My life has been truly blessed. I spent 7 years in professional baseball. I invented a product. Have 3 patents, went on QVC with Roger Clemens, and the most famous person I've ever had the opportunity to go work with, anybody seen the movie Ghostbusters? Bill Murray. I'm in 3 Hall of Fames. Trumbull County, which I'm glad to tell you I did nominate Andy Pike, who was in that Hall of Fame, and I just nominated Reed Lamport. When I read Reed Lamport's biography, he was bragging about the fact that his senior class, the last 2 years, they were 17-3. Calvin, I had to remind him that our senior class was 18-2. And I'm really proud of that. Mahoning County, Coaches, Cradle Coaches Hall of Fame, and of course the Hall of Fame everybody wants to be into, Cooperstown. But let's not get carried away. I am not in Cooperstown. George Brett got his 100th hit off me. Luckily, they don't put the box score in there because he also got his 101st and 2nd, so I had it covered. But I did win that game 2-1, so that was my first big league start. I could stand here and tell you some unbelievable stories. Thurman Munson, I struck out the bases loaded at Yankee Stadium. Sat and ate and played with Pete Rose and Mike Schmidt. Struck out Reggie Jackson. You guys are sitting there going, who's that? Your grandparents know. But that's not the message I want to share with you. 42 years ago, I sat in those same seats. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking if you can hit the ceiling with your hats, and the rest of you are wondering, where's the next graduation party? And how long is this going to be? But I will tell you, 42 years ago, I didn't have those thoughts. My goal was always to play in the big leagues. But when I sat out there like you all sat, my arm was hurt and I didn't know if I'd ever throw another baseball. And I had no plans. So here's the message I want to share with you today. As your life journey is about to begin. I wrote on the dugout wall at the Little League field after I graduated these words. Give all you have for when you're gone, you wish you had. I've lived by them my whole life. Let me explain. Give all you have, it's a process. It's a process that you're going to go through for the rest of your life. And in that process, there's going to be a lot of failures. I told you I invented a product and Roger Clemens was my spokesman. Not long after that, the Mitchell report came out and Roger was indicted on steroids, and it went like this. But you don't give up, you keep going. Process equals results. If you work through the process, the results will be great. Whether your goal is to get to the big leagues or to work at General Motors or be a custodian, no matter what it may be, to be a teacher, a board member, no matter what it is, to be a reverend, like Calvin, it's a process. It's an ever-evolving life. And in that life's chain, there's going to be a lot of choices, guys. You're going to have tons of choices, and things ain't always going to go right. But it's whether or not you can learn from those choices. If you can move forward and gain from it and realize there might be something else that the dear Lord has out there for you. My journey to the big leagues was stopped my senior year. We had to come up with another plan. Bob Force, my baseball coach, and Andy Pike was like a father to me. Met at my house. To be honest with you, I had a fake appendicitis attack, so the scouts would not come to the game. Then after that period of time, the draft was coming June 8th, the day we graduated, my birthday. So they wanted to see me pitch one last time at the field. 22 shots of cortisone and Novocaine in my right arm to go out there so that my journey can still go forward. We pulled it off. I was offered a full ride at Miami of Ohio, knowing that I would never pitch again. But a surgery later, I was back on track, and I realized that the process would continue, and the results were still within my grasp. It was hard, but I ended up throwing a no-hitter, one of only 7 thrown in the NCAA tournaments, and got drafted. Like they mentioned, I was the 31st pick in the nation. So my dream continued. But I'll tell you one thing that I want to pass on to you is I never forgot those that helped me along the way. There wasn't a time that when I went to Miami of Ohio and came back, or in the minor leagues and came back, or the big leagues and came back to Ohio, to Newton Falls, that I did not go to the high school and see Andy Pike, Gene Zorn, and Bob Force. And not just them, the teachers, Mrs. Bobby, Mr. Shepard, Mr. Ward. They were idols to me. And I will tell you, a gentleman in my favorite class, and I wanted to say to the choir, they're not here, but if you're listening, I am the only student in the history of Newton Falls that had to mouth the words in choir. If he heard my voice, I got an F. And I know if Gary Richards is here, he'll testify to that. But I will tell you, Gary Richards was my choir teacher. Can't sing a lick. We got the rest of the football team, Calvin, to get into choir. It turned out to be the best class. And for the last 42 years, Gary Richards calls me every year on my birthday, and we go out to lunch. That's the effect these teachers had on my life. As I look out at you, I think about the 42 years that's passed, and I think about you as you look around at your classmates, and you wonder where you're going, what you can accomplish, what you're going to achieve. As I look out there, I see John Baker in my class, a doctor. Rich Reeves, my best friend to this day, runs the lab at Trumbull Memorial. Ronnie Selak, over 20-some years in the National Guard. Mike Mattis traveled the world, been to China, Europe, everywhere on his job. And that's what you can look forward to, what your journey is about to be, what the process is going to be, and what it takes to get there. And no matter what it is, professional baseball, to be a teacher, to be a board member, it doesn't matter. Just give everything that you got to get to that goal. To be honest with you, I work on that goal every day of my life. I work on those words, give all you have for when you're gone. You wish you had, every single day. In my job now with Richford Foods, I'm a sales director of all sales. We've taken, along with my son, Walmart from $9 million a year to over $22 million in 1 year, because we both give everything we have. But I'll be honest with you, the thing that I'm most proud of, the most proud of in my life, is my family. Because the mistakes that I've made, God gives you the ability, if you live long enough, to correct those. My wife Janice and I have been married for over 32 years. And that's only getting better every year, trust me. My daughter Jessica has blessed me with 2 great grandchildren, Justina and Jordan. And I want you to know, I left Miami of Ohio after my junior year and never did go back and get my degree. I pushed that on my children. My daughter is to Sanford Brown right now as a medical tech and is carrying a 4.0. My son Justin was the first player in the history of Canfield High School to play in the Big Ten. Rivals All Big Ten, academic All Big Ten. My son Jake, who's at YSU, was All-American baseball player and is currently on the Dean's list. That's something I'm very proud of, because that process is something that you work on every day. As I look out at you and I think your journey is about to begin and where you can go in the direction you're about to take, I get excited for you because I know how it was for me. So, as I conclude, and your journey is about to begin, remember life will throw you a lot of curveballs. A lot of choices will come your way. And it's what you do with those choices, the direction you take them, how you adjust and how you grow, no matter what it is. And you will make mistakes. God knows I've made quite a few. I just want you to remember that if you look back at the process and the choices you make, the outcome will be absolutely great no matter what you do. But just remember, give all you have for when you're gone, you wish you had. Thank you.